Hey, it's Will Shannon here, and I just want to tell you, I did a very controversial subject, because you want to get YouTube views and likes. So, why I hate tapping. I called it that because just to shock you, tapping's not bad. I've learned it when I was years ago. I don't use it very much. I think it can be really useful. I'm not in any way against tapping. When I was younger, my mum did Touch for Health and kinesiology, one of the real early people in Australia back in the 80s, doing these things. But I really, in my clinical experience, I see people use tapping as a substitute for reality. It's like my husband stresses me. Some people maybe being unempathetic, maybe you need to understand, maybe you need a perspective, maybe you need to do a Gottman intervention, dreams within conflict that they teach. So I'm not against tapping, and also the biggest thing that everybody hates about NLP is the whole way people do it too structured. I'm really good at NLP. I know how to anchor and covertly anchor and shift your voice tone, and Richard Bandler taught me to mark space and create triggers, but it's too structured. If you're not using it to help other people, you're just going to sit there and you're going to say, well, shut your eyes, and there's a time to do that. You can just say, shut your eyes, we're going to do this. But it can be very structured, and a woman needs understanding and empathy. I remember reading the story, the father with the daughter, I think she was being bullied at school. She was crying, she just wanted somebody to hold her and console her and be there before an intervention. I remember seeing the father, well, is it a picture, is it and that's beautiful, but there's also smarts, there's human biology, and men and women are very different. And David Deida did that very classic masculine and feminine energy. But honestly, the thing that you got to understand about masculine and feminine energy is that I really think it's really overused. Again, I'm not being critical. I think it's beautiful. I completely understand it. But again, you don't want to. Oh, you're a woman. You're being too masculine. You're being too feminine. I mean, I get that, but you just want to nurture that person's core. If your woman's being a bit masculine, there's herbs. You might want to feed her adrenals or nerves or some gentle ovary or pituitary gland or endocrine type herbs. There's obviously biochemical adjustments you can make. But obviously you want to try and get her back to her essence of feeling nurtured. And John Gray taught me years ago, he said, I'm paraphrasing, he said, women, if you want, he's the king of gender cliches. When I use some gender cliches, go to John Gray, different planets. But, a feminine being, there's a part of it that also wants to be supported and nurtured in moments. And sometimes the best thing for guys is just leave him alone, let him go sit in his cave, sit in his office, sit in his garage and work it through. I had a person that lived with me for a while. She was a very famous chef, and she knew, well, you just leave me. She knew I had to do the office, not stress and the business, as opposed to always being in your face. As opposed to, I remember having an argument with an employee years ago, and she was following me room to room, which I think Barbara D'Angelo said in one of the books, it was a no-no, she would want a man. It might have been somebody else, sorry if that wasn't correct about Barbara, but following her room to room, and she was following, and I was like stressed out of my mind. I've been through some of those experiences, and she's following, I'm like, look, I need to talk later, and she's following me, but the 8th room, I exploded. I don't lose my temper, I got really, really angry, and there's strategies that work, but that just wasn't the time when I was being associated. I really need to talk later, it's just not a time. And John Gottman also taught me, and Julie, to be fair, Julie, she's a beautiful soul too, but once you're physiologically flooded, they call it flooding, when you're over 100 beats per minute, you need to go take a 10-15 minute rest. They put pulse, oxygen monitors, things on their clients to really know. So I was in a physiological state where I couldn't communicate the way that I needed, which is rare for me, but I was there. And so there's also these things that you need to pick up along the way. You need to become very acutely sensitive to the way other people breathe. For example, you need to watch the way other people breathe and really monitor. Look at, are they more visual, more auditory, more kinesthetic and feeling? Deep, shallow, nose, mouth breathing. And how do you think they feel based on that pattern of respiration, like the Ayurvedic practitioners teach? If you shifted their breathing, how would that make a difference? And we've got a beautiful planet now where, despite all the wars, there's an element of society that's really trying to make a difference and help other people. So that would be my advice to you. I know my friends teach me, they say I have a speaking disorder, I can talk endlessly, but this is what I do for a living. This is very, very raw. This is not the quality I give to clients. Clients much better quality. I warm up my voice. But Tai Lopez taught me something interesting once. He said, Will, good enough is enough to get started if perfection's been making you procrastinate. So I've been wanting to get on the internet for years. I'm dark on the eyes, I'm tired I've been working and it's raw and I don't have the right background. And finally I just thought, you know what? I've got to get started. So if there's something you've been procrastinating about as well, I would really, really encourage you not just get that mental toughness, but just good enough is enough to get started. I mean, the first time your child paints a picture, they come home from school and it's all over the damn place. So the internet is where it's all happening. I encourage you, get the hell on the internet. That's really where the distribution is now. Go do your study offline. And the other thing I'll tell you is, don't underestimate a good education. There's so many people that now that are health coaches, have done a 3-day course. I've done my 4-year, my postgrad, and my this, and then I've been to India, and then I've gone to America, and I've studied. Then I've gone off with the Gottmans, and I could talk, thing. But it's not that I want to be so smart, I have beautiful academic credentials, but I really do think that also, the thing that bugs me about YouTube is there's so many people that are meant to be some of the best in the world at this, and I see them doing content, I'm like, I could be doing a lot better. I hear him, this one guy, his chiropractor, he's got like 500,000-600,000 followers. I like that, he's a really beautiful guy, but it's just, I'm like, that's not correct, because I'm in the industry. And then I did a course with the Mayo Clinic, like mayonnaise, M-A-Y-O. If you're from America, I know you know who they are. Other countries you may not. And they said, look, we're the most well-respected Western clinic in America. If you're an expert, get out there and share good quality information with people. If you're an expert, you know it's accurate, you know it's time-proven, you know it's tested, you've done it, share that for people. Try and put good information rather than just bloggers. There's nothing wrong with being a blogger. But rather than just a blogger who has had some peppermint tea and might even be paid for that, do some really unbiased content, really put out some good content. So I encourage you, if there's something you can teach people how to speak another language. Do it slow, build a relationship, pretend you're speaking to a friend. How do you teach it? Talk to someone you love. If you're doing camera, and like they teach people, monitor your state, your physiology, your focus, your language. Your language creates meaning. Tony always says, are you wrong? Are you mistaken? Are you perhaps a little bit incorrect? I'm not sure. Transformational vocabulary, TV, he calls it. How do you change your language? How do you shape a word? Because words begin to create meaning. Words create meaning in the human nervous system. When we don't perceive reality, we chunk it into 5 things. 6 things, 5 or 6. We chunk it into taste and smell, sight, sound, feeling, and then you could make a case that we chunk it into words. And there's obviously other senses that are beyond this, but this is certainly the most measured. And obviously, the feeling is the vibrations coming through the skin and the pressure. And I remember seeing a blind guy once, he could feel the size of the room. Can you imagine? He could feel the size of the room based on just the vibes. He could just feel, he could just sense. You want to acutely develop your senses, your sound, your feeling, your sight. You don't just want to get on YouTube like, my teeth are white. That might work, but that drives me crazy. So I'd encourage you, if you respect any of my work, any of my content, go out there and be a good example. The way you dress, diaphragm breathing, and implement what you learn. If life is very hard, application is very hard. If you want to take conscious control of your thoughts, do it. Don't just say, teach others. People on the internet look so stressed. They've got these big, doughy black pupils. They look so worn out and their hair's falling out. And it's not that they're out there making a difference in the world, it's just their mind. Mark Twain said, I've been through many terrible things, some of which has happened to me. So if you've got any wisdom, you've got something you can teach others, go and get a bit good at it and go and help other people. And I promise you, the connection and the feedback you get from others. I did a video on appendicitis years ago, and I forgot about it. I had 170,000 views I just saw and counting. And there's all these comments. People asked me for my help. I didn't even look at it because I wasn't a social media guy at the time. I was offline. There were people going, Will, this is amazing content. A couple of people got on there and criticised me. I wasn't offended. And somebody got on there and stood up for me. I didn't take it personally. I just said, look, this is the best I've learned about it. And I said, look, if you think you need to go to hospital, go to hospital. Here's some strategies. You think it may not be appendicitis, you want to prevent it, or you want to change things. So I put on, and that's what they taught at the Mayo Clinic. If you're a well-respected expert, give what's within your bounds to be able to say. I didn't comment on the drugs, I didn't comment on the surgery, but I said, hey, this is in my field of expertise, the way I treat it in a clinic. This is some tips and tools to think about in conjunction with your doctor, but go ask him, because he's going to tell you. So you want to be very, very smart the way you do things, and you don't want to be paranoid either. So that would be my advice. Look, Will Shannon out. I'm sending you a lot of love. God bless. Go listen to some nice music. Go do things. Go walk. Go breathe. Go build yourself up and get cracking on something you love. Just do it. All masterpieces start small. All masterpieces start with the first stroke. I just made that up. I don't know if anyone said that. All masterpieces start with that first brush and then the second of paint. And what really leaders, John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And this guy's, momentum. And this guy's he's got one of the biggest churches in America. He had, I don't know where he's at now. I mean, he was a leader in the Christian community. He wrote a book. He spent his life obsessed with leadership. He wasn't just a guy who started a company out the back of somewhere. There's nothing wrong with that. That's really beautiful. But I mean, try implementing it, see how hard it is in the real world. Try learning theory running 100 meters. Go out there and try to be one of the fastest runners in the world. It's really, really hard. Try seeing 60, 70, 80 people in your clinic and managing your staff. Do it. You know, it's not easy even in a small business. I mean, these things aren't easy. I mean, you've got to, rather than be jealous, rather than try to tear others down, respect and say, this is not for me, but far out. This has taken some time and effort. So you want to think about where your niche is. So that would be my encouragement for you. How do you run a YouTube video? And also, why I hate tapping, be real, change the thought process, change the physiology. Tapping's useful. I like Chris Collingwood, who's just one of those beautiful guys I've ever met. He's an NLP trainer, primarily trained by John Grinder. From memory, he's also a psychologist by background. I could be wrong. He's an educated man, university educated, well-respected man. Very lovely guy, and he runs, actually postgraduate, actually, university accredited equivalent. I might not be using the right language for the country, but courses, not just the 3-day thing. Just a great human being. He mentored me. I've learned a lot from this guy. I remember years ago I'd been through some trauma, and I was familiar with the NLP double disassociation. You see yourself watching yourself, so you see yourself seeing yourself, you float out of your body into the projection booth, and then he got me to just turn around and look away and run the memory backwards. But I wasn't even looking at the screen. He actually got me to black out in the projection booth. And I've used that with people. People sexually abused on the job. People have been through hell and back. I've used that. It's just a tool technique I didn't know. And now, I'm here for trauma. Well, I want some St. John's Wort. Well, how's this in conjunction with something? Let's try this. Let me set up some positive anchors. How does that feel? Okay, have some bailout anchors. And there's a lot of technology out there, and everybody studied NLP and think they're going to be the next success guru. The final thing I'll say is Maya Angelou said, don't be obsessed with success and failure. You want to be obsessed with spirituality. I don't mean being a Buddhist, being a Christian. You want to be obsessed with spirituality. You don't judge yourself by succeed or fail. Judge yourself by who you are, or what you contribute to the planet. And I really, really sincerely mean that. You just go touch one person. I was at Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny, and I needed to be helping. I think my rule was 10,000 people in a day or at a time to feel that I was contributing, being of service. You imagine how stressed I was. I thought, well, I reach in a year, do I go here, do I? So, I relaxed a lot. I deliberately decided to let myself feel good if there's just one person. I'm not going to, it might be on an aeroplane, it might be, go out and be a decent example of being human. Love and God bless. Talk to you soon.